The grand hall of Xarithia's palace shimmered under the pale blue glow of the twin suns. Crystal spires reached toward the sky, reflecting light in 1,000 directions, creating a kaleidoscope effect that made every visitor feel like they were standing inside a living gem. I had never seen anything like it. Not even on Earth, with all its technological marvels, could compare to this alien grandeur. And yet, I wasn't here as a tourist. I was here on the verge of declaring something that could change the very course of the galaxy. The alienqueen, Velithra, sat upon her throne, an imposing figure whose very presence commanded attention. Her carapace glimmered like obsidian, with streaks of bioluminescent blue pulsing down her limbs. Her eyes, multifaceted and shifting with colors I couldn't name, bore into me like laser beams. You dare enter my palace without invitation. Her voice with a harmonic resonance that seemed to vibrate through my chest. I came to speak the truth, I said, trying to steady my voice. My hand rested on the small, barely visible device strapped to my chest, a genetic scanner I had stolen from the medical lab during my last mission on Xarithia. Its readout confirmed what I already suspected, yet saying it aloud still felt like stepping off a cliff into unknown space. Velithra tilted her head, mandibles clicking in a sound that might have been amusement or irritation. "The truth?" she asked, each word slicing through the air like a blade. "Humans speak of truth, yet you walk among lies as easily as you breathe." I swallowed hard. "Then hear this," I said. "You are the mother of my child." For a heartbeat, the room fell into silence so profound it felt as though the twin suns themselves had stopped shining. The queen's eyes widened, a rare human-like gesture I had only seen once before, during a historical archive of first-contact meetings. "My child." Her voice cracked, or at least, that's what it sounded like to me. "You dare claim this?" "Yes," I said, stepping closer. "The genetic scan confirms it. Your DNA, combined with mine, has produced a hybrid embryo, and it exists now." The grand hall trembled faintly, not from any physical force, but from the shockwaves radiating off the queen. Cortes and guard froze mid-step, their antennae quivering nervously. Even the hovering, luminescent drone stopped moving, caught in the tension that seemed to warp the very fabric of the palace. Velithra rose, towering over everyone in the hall. This is impossible," she hissed. "Humans are weak. You could not survive a day on Xarithia, let alone sire a child with the queen of the Xarithians." I shook my head. "It happened, and soon it will be born. You cannot deny it." For a moment, her expression shifted into disbelief so stark that I almost doubted my own claim. Then, her eyes narrowed into something sharper, something dangerous. "If what you say is true," she said slowly, "then this child is no mere accident. It carries the blood of both species, a bridge between Xarithia and Earth. And yet, you speak as though this absolves you of responsibility." "I don't just speak," I said. "I act. I will protect this child, whatever the cost. And you must decide what role you will play." The queen's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. Around us, the courtiers whispered in their alien tongue, words dripping with fear and awe. I had expected anger, but not this. Something about her reaction suggested that the news was bigger than politics or pride. This was personal. "You speak as if the galaxy itself will bend to your will," she said. "Do you realize what this means? If the existence of a hybrid child becomes known," her voice trailed off as if she feared finishing the sentence. "I do," I said. "That's why I came directly to you. To prevent chaos. To prevent war. You, as a mother, and I, as a father, must decide together how to raise this child." Velithra's eyes softened ever so slightly, a fleeting glimpse of emotion that sent shivers down my spine. For centuries, the queen had been untouchable, a living weapon of political strategy and military power. Yet now, she looked human, Or at least human in a way I could understand. Vulnerable, uncertain, and perhaps even scared. You claim this child will unite two species, she asked quietly, her voice almost a whisper, or destroy them. I took a deep breath. That depends on us. If we work together, the child can be a bridge. But if we hide or deny it, it could spark a war. Silence fell again. The entire court seemed suspended in time, waiting for the Queen's next move. Then, without warning, she turned sharply and ordered, "Seal the hall." Guards immediately formed barriers at every exit. The luminescent drones began scanning the crowd. I realized that my declaration had transformed this peaceful meeting into a strategic lockdown. "Queen Velithra," I began, but she raised a hand. "No, I must consider," she said. "This revelation cannot leave this hall until a decision is made. You have thrust us into uncharted territory. Human, prepare yourself for consequences you cannot imagine." I nodded. I had expected anger, maybe even an attempt on my life. But the Queen's restraint was more terrifying. She was thinking, calculating, planning, and that made her far more dangerous than any immediate attack. Hours passed. I was confined to a side chamber under guard, watched by soldiers whose antennae twitched nervously at my presence. I had little food, no privacy, and yet I felt strangely calm. The weight of the galaxy rested on this moment, and for the first time in my life, I understood that some truths could not be hidden. Finally, I was summoned back to the Grand Hall. The Queen awaited, seated again upon her throne, her posture regal but tinged with tension. "Human," she said, "your claim is verified. The genetic readings you presented, accurate. Your words are not lies." She paused, letting that sink in. "And yet, I am unprepared. Unprepared for what this child means, for what it could become." "I don't expect you to be ready," I said. "None of us are. But we can learn together." Velithra studied me for a long moment. Then, she did something I never expected. She extended a clawed hand toward me. "Come closer," she said. I stepped forward cautiously. She leaned in, her multifaceted eyes locking onto mine. "If this child lives, it will inherit both our strengths and both our weaknesses. You will teach it humanity. I will teach it Zyrithian ways. And together, we will ensure it survives." I reached out and took her hand, feeling the strange warmth of her exoskeleton. Despite everything, despite the fear and uncertainty, I felt hope. "Then we are allies?" I asked, barely daring to breathe. "More than allies," she said softly. "We are guardians. The galaxy may not understand, but it will follow, because the child is a symbol of what is possible." Word of the hybrid's existence could not be contained forever. Across systems, messengers carried the news, first as rumor, then as fact. Planets that had long eyed Earth and Zyrithia with suspicion now looked with curiosity, fear, and awe. Every major interstellar council convened emergency sessions, debating the implications of a human-Zyrithian hybrid. Would it spark diplomacy or ignite war? Meanwhile, Velithra and I worked tirelessly to prepare for the child's arrival. We trained together, sharing knowledge and skills, bridging not only species but ideologies. I learned the subtle nuances of Zyrithian combat and culture, while she studied the complexities of human emotion, diplomacy, and unpredictability. When the child was finally born, it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. A creature of luminous energy in physical form, it possessed both the resilience of Zyrithians and the creativity of humans. It cooed in sounds that resonated in both our languages, immediately forming a bond that transcended fear and politics. The first public appearance of the child shocked even the most hardened diplomats. Crowd fell silent, then erupted into or in cautious admiration. The hybrid's existence proved that unity between species was possible, not just a theoretical ideal. Velithra turned to me, her mandibles clicking in a sound I had come to recognize as affection. "You were right," she said. "The galaxy needed this. We needed this." "And yet," I said, holding our child gently, "this is only the beginning. The galaxy will challenge us. There will be those who wish to exploit, destroy, or deny what we have created." She nodded, her multifaceted eyes reflecting determination and something that almost looked like a smile. "Let them come. We face them together as a family." As the twin sun set over Xyrithia's crystal spires, I realized that life had changed forever. A single truth, spoken in courage, defiance, and love, had shifted the course of history. What began as a dangerous confession had become a promise that unity, even in a galaxy fractured by fear and prejudice, was possible. And in that moment, holding our child between us, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we had already begun to change the galaxy, one heartbeat at a time.